I welcome three of you to this fourth edition of poetry. And Sanjeev, I never knew that we had a hidden poet in you. But then I guess if you'd add any more feathers to your cap, you'd look like a peacock. So it's not no surprise that you're a talented man. And also after requesting Sanjeev to read some poems by Robin Gupta, who's indisposed and has had a bout of bad health and was scheduled to join us, but is unable to join us. So I would request Sanjeev to read a couple of poems by Robin and then follow it up at the end with his own poem. Yeah, Sanjeev, is that all right? Yeah?
That's fine. Thank you. Should I start?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, Mr. Robin Gupta is the principal advisor of the Value of Words, and he's one of the persons who has been instrumental in giving Value of Words the shape that we have today. I'm going to be reading some of his favorite poems. But before that, let me read something very nice that he wrote on the cover of his poetry book, which he said, "I cannot change the alignment of this day." I cannot change the alignment of this day. And with this, let me start with an untitled poem, which is called Perforce. I see every color in your eyes, the shaking mountainside, the torrential rain, the fragrant Firangapani tree, lamplit boats in a turbulent ocean that lead to distant shores. The swaying palms reaching mountain clouds and coconut groves encircling the sleeping village where people live wrapped in a continuum of dreams. While I know you and I must part to leave behind what we share in the day at twilight. Yet, something of each other we carry in ourselves to different destinations. Yet, something of each other we carry in ourselves to different destinations, and we know that destiny has intervened to make our sharing not possible. Destiny has intervened to make our sharing not possible, and that long after we are interred, there'll be others who love till they too are overtaken by time. This is an untitled poem by Robin Gupta. And
wonderful.
I now move on to another of his favorite poems, which is called Zafar Shah, the Last Emperor.
Yeah.
You all heard the Char road maang ke laaye the umre daraz se do arzu mein kat gaye intaar mein. That is what he said. But let's hear what Robin has to say about Zafar Shah, the Last Emperor. We may not savor fruits of the season. We may not savor fruits of the season. In consequence of time, we shall view the blossoming altogether. We may not savor the fruits. We may not favor fruits of the season in the consequence of time, but we shall view the blossoming altogether, lest in some selection the fullness of these gardens brings forth a fragrance of one kind at first, and then another. For time, as we know, is a trickster. For time, as we know, is a trickster.
Wow.
Getting back, we're actually to getting into being Zafar. So I think these are some lovely poems which he has. There's another very nice poem which I found, which is about the Punjab Mail and how we feel about how the train moves. I'm trying to find this. I should have. Yes, this is a poem which I have liked very much because these days, of course, all of us travel by aeroplanes. It's become very easy, but you would remember both. I mean, Divya is not of the generation which has moved so much in trains, but the three of us have spent all our childhood and a lot of our youth traveling by trains, AC two-tier, and used to enjoy it a lot. And this poem is called Punjab Mail. It's called Punjab Mail.
Those trains are wow.
There is no sleep in the bed. There is no sleep in the bed I am accustomed to, and seeking rest in the movement of trains. I'm seeking rest in the movement of trains. I gauge endless lines of steel. I gauge endless lines of steel, punctuating the vicariousness of time.
Wow.
I gauge endless lines of steel, punctuating the vicariousness of time. So these were some of the poems which I thought I'd read to you from. And I'm now going to be, you see, I do not normally write poetry, but I used to write when I was young. It doesn't mean that I'm no longer young. So the fact that once in a while I get tired
you write in your extreme youth, Sanjeev. I said you would write poetry in your extreme youth. You're young now.
Yeah.
Maybe there was more inspiration then.
This is a serious poem which was written after a conversation with Yovanika, and it's actually a tribute to her and to her generation, which includes Divya and all the young people who actually get us to question the world around us. We at times tend to get too complacent, and as a bureaucrat, one is so used to defending the state, that we sometimes lose that touch. And that touch is so important because whether it was Nirbhaya, whether it was Hathras, whatever it's happened, I mean, there's so much around us which actually forces us to think. And this is a poem which I wrote, I think, around 19th or 20th of April 2018, when a young girl of 8 years old, Asifa, had been brutalized and then murdered. Asifa, I never met you. I never knew you. But when my daughter cried for you yesterday, I could feel the pain, the anguish, the anger, and the betrayal that she held me, my generation, my religion, and my nation responsible for what happened to you. For like most of my colleagues, I looked the other way when little rules were broken and small tyrants, more often than not, came in the zone of tolerance. Let me repeat this. For like most of my colleagues, I looked the other way when little rules were broken and small tyrants, more often than not, came in the zone of tolerance. I'm responsible and I'm guilty and I'm ashamed. I failed you. Asifa, I failed you. I failed you. I failed you in Hathras. I failed you in the Nirbhaya case. But let me say this. The barbarians who did this were not Hindus or Indians. For if they were, then I and millions like me are not. For if they were Hindus or Indians, then I am not, and millions like me are not. But we are more. We are much more than them in numbers and in spirit. My daughter joins me with silence, tears, and folded hands. We pray, Asifa, that you are reborn an angel to change the laws and the world we live in. May this be the turning point in the history of a nation. Unfortunately, it wasn't the turning point. We've had more incidents, similar incidents, with the same brutality ever again. And therefore, more such anguish will come. Asifa, may this be the turning point in the history of a nation. Maybe we all can cover, maybe as we all take cover to hide our shame and walk together, our heads down in turmoil and sorrow, Hindus and Muslims, Punjabis and Nagas, Sikhs and Dalits, scholars and farmers, peons and entrepreneurs, together we say, forgive us, Asifa, forgive us.
Wow, Sanjeev, that was brilliant. That is really excellent. Good show, Sanjeev. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sanjeev. And I think you should write more poetry, Sanjeev. That's what will outlive us all. Yeah, it will. My second guest in the evening is Mr. Sunil Bhandari, who tells me he's a poet masquerading as a corporate or vice versa, or whatever which way he'd like to state it. That's his prerogative. And welcome, Sunil. And I think he's Of Love and Other Abandonments was an Amazon bestseller. His podcast, Uncut Poetry, is a huge hit. So, Sunil, I give the floor to you, sir.
Thank you so much. And I was part of the inaugural VoW. It was one of the best experiences I've had. I've read in so many festivals and so many places, but I think Dehradun and VoW was so special. So thank you for having me over. And it's such a unusual format, and I know that we are all getting used to it, but nothing like the physical one, I can tell you. But then here we are, and words will always flow in the hills or through digital waves. So we have to make the best of it. Yes. So I'm from Calcutta, so I thought it would be appropriate to recite a poem on Calcutta. So our relationship with the city that we have grown up in or know intimately is, to my mind, nothing less than a love affair. And that way, it fulfills us and frustrates us. So this poem is about that. It's called Calcutta, A Lover's Epitaph. There is no other place for me. Calcutta's streets have been mapped by my heart, and I can stop anywhere and tell you stories of when I was a child and the city a youth, of when I grew up and the city refused to. But in its heart now lie crumbling memories of all who grew tired of waiting for its mornings to burst out into light, even as I sit on the curb and sip tea from earthen teacups grafted from its steam. I'm still a lover, though in the shadow of its decaying facades and tired cathedrals, waiting for its glory to emerge from its cemetery. A strand of grass cracks open a gravestone. I have invested too much of myself into this city, into the blood streams of its roads, into the pores of its eccentricities, too much pain, too much sweat, too much semen, too much poetry to now say, I abandon you. But I despair of this city, this lover. Doesn't it owe me anything? But it lurches from one wound to another, as if life's expositions are lesser, if not written in scars. Now I feel abandoned. The city's faithlessness is now not of the senses, it is a disembowelment of my belief. And if in that deceit lies its definition, then it is also the epitaph to my irreparably broken heart. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Lovely lines. Sunil, brilliant.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Those like bloodlines, huh? Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
My second poem. Okay, so my second poem is a bit softer. My father, he's 86 and he has amnesia. He forgets a lot. So this poem is about him.
Sure.
Till the next cup of tea. He shuffles now where he once had an iron step. I know him to be the person I know, but also now a stranger in his chemical world. I speak to him of today, cold morning, steam off the jasmine tea. He looks out of the window at known flights he can't describe. He asks me why I had gone to Varanasi. I say, Dad, it was last year. He smiles and says, time is flexible when you are not at its behest.
Wow.
He kisses me goodbye.
Time is flexible when you are not at its behest. How well said.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
He
Lovely
kisses
line.
me. He kisses me goodbye at the front door, and I pray till the next cup of tea. Stay till the next cup of tea. Stay. Thank you.
Very
Wow. Excellent. Come on, don't talk. Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
very gentle. Very filigree of poetry, absolutely.
Thank you.
More.
My last poem is a short one. My wife and I both regret not having a daughter. And we have a son. We are very happy with him, I must confess very quickly. But having a daughter is something so special. And I see so many fathers and I see the relationship they have with their daughter. And I mean, I see something so special which nothing can touch. And it's precious, warm, valuable, you know. But like so many children beset with thoughts of mortality when their fathers start growing old, I see that happening also. So this poem is about that relationship and when the evening of life starts coming in. It's called Departures. She stands in the mothy dusk with her father, smoking quietly as they watch the sun. She stands in the mothy dusk with her father, smoking quietly as they watch the sun find its way across the ruins of the skies. The hills in the distance are hazy like memories, and nothing in between seems to matter. She says, sometimes I feel we stay inside a Monet. And her father smiles, puts an arm around her shoulders and says, though you, my love, will always be my Rembrandt. She thinks, how calm things are when evenings show how easy mortality is. She puts her head on his shoulders and asks, are we ever ready for departures? The way the day is every day. She knows the answer. So does he. But it doesn't harm anybody to lose themselves in the silence which follows some questions. Thank you.
Absolutely. In the silence which follows.
Excellent. Sunil, excellent. Very nice. I like that. Yeah. Sanjeev and I were talking of our daughters this morning, Sanjeev. But we were saying something. We were saying how lucky they are to have fathers like us.
Yes.
I'm sure that's true. I'm sure that's true.
Thank you so much, Sunil. Thank you very much.
You're praising ourselves, So,
thank you so much.
Now to our last panelist, Divya Murugesan, who's an officer in the West Bengal cadre in Purulia, I believe, huh? Right now posted there.
Yes.
And she's a young officer of the All India Services, and she enjoys writing poetry. And hers is straight from the heart, daily observations that she puts down. And Divya, I believe you travel a lot, huh? And she has her poetry, people, places, and poetry. The 3 P's of her life are places, people, and poetry, huh, Divya? So what are you going to give us today evening, Divya? Read us something. Come, child.
So my piece is it's divided into different sections. I got this idea when I was traveling quite extensively. I started imagining places as people, and I just felt that places have life, they have interests, and they have aspirations, just like we all have. So I've written about a few places, places like Delhi, where I've lived, places like Mussoorie, where I was trained, and of course places like Calcutta, where I will be settled soon. And I would say it was lovely to first of all hear from Chopra sir. I haven't heard from him in terms of poetry I've heard, and I'm truly impressed, sir. And even Sunil Bhandari sir, I have read a few pieces of your work. So my favorite is a short poem called Talisman. I think it was really beautiful. So this is just a very humble attempt at poetry, sir.
Go. We're all there once.
Sir, I'll start.
Don't worry, Divya. We were all where you are once. Believe you me.
Sir.
We would, as a young, when I started off as a young kid, I was like a little wordsmith putting words together, tuck, and it'll come. Keep going at it, and the magic will come one day. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Yeah. We were all there once. Yeah, good.
All right, sir.
Go.
I will read my poem, sir. I walked and rode and sailed and flew from one tip of India to another, sometimes with the heaviest heart, but mostly with a heavy suitcase. My tan lines would get prominent and my clothes get tighter. I vehemently disagreed with many I met, but gradually learned to nod, even in disagreements. I began appreciating the beauty in the ugliness of places and took pride at the marvel that my country was. I knew I couldn't like every bit of this marvelous country, but I started to understand its broken wings. I realized that places I visited were much like people, with pain, power, pride, and preoccupation. Meeting them changed me grain by grain, bit by bit, till I could recognize myself no more. Delhi, the land of arches, domes, and divine kebabs. She's a melting pot of cultures old and new. She pleasantly toasts your feet in her winter sun and treats you to delicious chaats by the road. She's part rustic and part elegant. She'll take you on lazy strolls in Purani Delhi, and she'll make you run around circles in Connaught Place. She's home to the homeless and takes pride in teaching you a lesson or two in street smartness. She's hearty and soulful. She's polished yet genuine. She's all contained in one. My next one is about Mussoorie, the place that I was trained.
Very good. Shabash.
Have you run marathons where you're panting and sweating and breathless, and you look into the crowd on both sides of the road and spot that one friend who's cheering for you the loudest? That is Mussoorie, the queen of hills. She's the mesmerizing journey who handholds you to your destination. She smells of pine, wine, and everything divine. She'll treat you to breakfast in bed and expect you to live in the moment, not plan ahead. She'll host you graciously, never forgetting to top up your coffee or offer you an additional serving of her delicious carrot cake. Evenings with her will be filled with stimulating conversations, making it easy to forget that she's a part of your journey and not your destination. She'll probably just be a pit stop on your way to greater things in life. She'll cheer for you, cook for you, sing for you. She'll be your happy place. For when times get turbulent and you shut your eye, even for a microsecond, it is a glimpse of her that will power you through. My next one is...
this is so lovely. I loved it.
Good one.
Really loved
Good
it.
one on... This is home to us, yeah. Excellent, excellent, brilliant.
Thanks, sir.
Go, kiddo, go.
My next one is about Tirupati. Tirupati. He's the stairway to heaven, the genie who brings wishes alive. Living atop the mighty Tirumala hills, he looks at his children, kneeling and rolling, walking and shaving, crying and wailing, pushing through entire oceans of people for just a glimpse of him. But he manifests himself through men, controlling him through trust. They build schools, hospitals, and shelter homes in his name, and manage crowds in straight queues to further his fame. And one wonders whether it is men who create God and not the other way around. The next one is about Lakshmi.
Yeah.
She's short and quiet on the surface, but she holds a storm within her. She bears and sustains countless lives within her and joins you in dancing with drums and sticks. She inspires you to take that leap of faith and jump deep into her. As you stroll with her in moonlit white sands, the tides will speak to you. They sing to warn against attempts of taming her. So she might seem calm on the face of it, but mind you, she holds a storm within her.
She holds a storm within her. Very good.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So my last one's about Calcutta. Nothing amazing as what Sir recited.
Come along.
You haven't written in Purulia yet?
Yes.
No, sir, not yet, sir.
Not yet? Okay.
On my way. On my way, sir. Kolkata. While most people compliment her on her Victorian architecture, her famous bright yellow taxis, or the unending starry Durga Puja nights, she longs for someone who doesn't call her just pretty. For she is mighty, for she is kind. 1,000 indomitable feminine spirits her within you'll find. She can be rigid at times, but she'll take you in as her own in no time. She can woo you with her chingri malai curry and mutter luchi, but she won't hold a grudge against you if you dislike potatoes in her biryani. She's mountains and rivers. She's loving yet vengeful.
Lovely.
Yet calm. She's soft yet strong. She's all at once, and in the end, she's the one who has my heart. Thank you, sir.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Good poetry.
Wonderful.
Sunil?
Very loved it. Sir.
What Sanjeev and Sunil, couple of words there encouraging our young poet, the youngest of the lot. Divya, very good. I think that's amazing poetry. I really enjoyed it. And really nice, really nice. Keep going, keep going. Yeah. The hardest is the Everest of the mind, you know. The hardest climb is within your own mind. So keep going. Yes, excellent. Good writing, good writing. Sanjeev, encourage the young kid, the young Sunil,
yes, I mean,
please.
I special OT, and she knows it, and I'm very proud of her. And she's been one of our brightest stars at the academy. And so I'm very happy. I'm very glad. In fact, I was hoping that we'll have a poem on Purulia also, because that's my training district. That's where I started my career from. And so I was hoping that we'll have a poem. All right. Anyway, next year or the next to next year edition of VoW, we'll certainly look forward to hearing. And I think the way in which she moves across city to city, and this is something which she done in a Bharat Darshan, and that's from a Bharat Darshan I picked this up, and I found during her Bharat Darshan submission that she has the makings of a great wordsmith, and I'm very glad that she's keeping at it, and she knows my best wishes are with her, and very proud of you.
Thank you.
Very proud of you.
Thank you, Sanjeev.
Divya, what I loved was that you got the flavor of each city so well. Masuri is a favorite, and you got the smell and the feel and the look of it, and it's not so easy to get, and you've done it so well. Really, really loved it. I mean, I hope the government keeps transferring you, so we'll have new poems from every city.
Journey that led me to my destination, so that's what I felt while writing. I wish to write more, sir, on maybe Purulia very soon, sir.
Yes,
Right.
Wonderful. For the next edition then. Thank you.
With this, we come to the end of this magical session. Thank you, Sanjeev. Thank you, Sunil. Divya.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much for sharing your words with us, and the magic of there is nothing. I mean, Aristotle tells us at the end, it's the hardest thing to do. It's the hardest of the arts. You have just words, and you cobble them together, and you convey an emotion. It's very, very hard. I mean, you paint red, it's anger. Try and describe anger in words, or love in words. It's really hard. So thank you very much, the three of you. I repeat, Sanjeev, Sunil, and Divya. Thank you very much for coming on this virtual session of the 4th edition of the Value of Words. And I hope to see more of you in the future sessions in the years to come, virtually or physically, analog to digital. And I feel like a dinosaur, moving from one age to the other. But the switch shall be made, and we shall not become dinosaurs. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. Bye then.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.